Hello everyone, with me today are a few predictions and a few experiments, and you are watching Oakland Tobacconist. Today I have something very special. I want to talk about aging cigars. I've experimented with various different brands such as Foundation, Liga Privada, Padron, Arturo Fuente, various different ones. We've just launched the ability to age cigars in our Cigar Society. We have a few more memberships left. What you do is you click subscribe, you get a 5-pack of a single blend every month to smoke right out the gate with us on Instagram, and then you age the rest. So right now I want to go over what I've tried and what I predict that might age well. First of which would be the Le Bijou 22 from My Father Cigars. This was awarded 2015 Cigar of the Year by Cigar Aficionado for a good reason. It has dark cocoa notes, a little bit of pepper to it, espresso, and various others. It's fairly complex. Now with this, I aged it for about 4 years, and some of those darker notes that almost could be perceived bitter turned out more sweet. Some of the more rustic notes with a little bit of like pepper and a little bit of that espresso and earth was more creamy on the back end. It didn't mute the strength, but it brought it forward, and it molded much better. So I had great luck with the Bijou 22 from My Father. Secondly, also a My Father cigar, but this one is a different blend. Unlike a Maduro, this is an Ecuadorian Sumatra. Sumatra tend to be more in the medium, possibly medium plus range. Some of them are, but most of them are in the medium size. And so I did the My Father Judge. It has some of those earthy tones, cedar tones, pepper tones. And when aging it, I was worried also if it would get muted. But it was not the case. In fact, it aged very, very well. It almost tasted like smoking the Judge's older brother in a way. It was more refined. It was more cohesive altogether. Some of those notes in varying different areas blended well, and it made it very excellent. So those are two successes I've had. A few cigars, which will remain nameless, unfortunately did not have the same success. However, that is a part of the fun. That's part of the experimenting. So a few predictions of what I think might work. This is the Aquitaine 4.5 by 60. Aquitaine from Roma Craft Blockhead. This is a 4.5 by 60 ring gauge. So it's a beefier cigar. Aquitaine tends to have more espresso forward coffee notes, a little bit of chocolate, but because it's somewhat rustic and more heavy hitting, I imagine if you let this particular cigar age and rest, I could see it definitely getting more refined, less bold so much as kick you in the face, but more have some of that strength, but a bit more cohesiveness with the blend. And so some of those coffee notes would be less bitter. So I anticipate the Aquitaine 4.5 by 60 size, it's a limited release, would age very well. Secondly is a cigar that's already been aged somewhat in a particular environment. That is the Perdomo Habano Sungrown Bourbon Barrel Age. They aged this wrapper leaf for about 11 months in a bourbon barrel. Along with the signature sun-grown notes of spiciness, of pepper, a little bit of sweetness, you have the bourbon sweetness underneath. What would happen with this cigar if you let it sit and some of that bourbon sweetness and some of that spicy came together to create the flavor? These are the things that really run through my mind of how is it going to improve and will it improve? And so I anticipate the Perdomo Bourbon Barrel Age doing just that. A very unique cigar, I've had it on the channel various times, and it's one of my personal favorites, is the Night Watch Maduro. This is a Corojo seed grown Maduro, closed foot. Now, this also has some of those sharper tones of pepper, a little bit of earth, but it's so complex. It's all over the place. You have coffee, you have cocoa, you have cedar, you have pepper, and I also would like to see this kind of become refined and mold together as it ages, have some of more of the sugars come forward, maybe the strength stay where it is, but the flavor kind of tame down a little bit and stay consistent through, and I would like to see how that happens. So as I say, these are just a few predictions and a few successes that I had. That is a part of the fun of actually aging a cigar. You take a $10 cigar, make it a $20 cigar. So if you get a chance, check out our Cigar Society. It is limited spots. We do have a few left. Also, age cigars yourself. Pick up a sampler pack from somewhere. I'd love to know your experiments with it, your successes, your errors, perhaps the journey along. Leave them down in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Thanks again for watching Oakland Tobacconist.